is the government news brief for Friday, February 17, 2017. In the news, CARICOM heads of government urged to refocus on regional security, final consultation on the National Integrated Solid Waste Management Strategy target key city stakeholders, and the Guyana Fire Service is expanding its firefighting capacity. Stay tuned for these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. I am Renetta LaFleur. Here are the details. Barbados' Prime Minister calls on CARICOM to refocus on regional security to better protect Caribbean countries. Gabriela Patram has the details.
Prime Minister Frindell Strode at the opening of the 28th intersessional meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of CARICOM explains that over the years, some Caribbean states have faced threats to their security in the form of direct invasion, mercenary attacks, incursion, and intervention. Against that background, he is calling on the heads of government to start focusing on regional security.
We have to spend some time on the whole issue of regional security, which is for us not just a law and order issue, but for us a developmental issue. And therefore, we are going to be spending some considerable time on that in the afternoon.
The Barbadian Prime Minister says that efforts have been made since the early 1970s for the establishment of a collective security mechanisms in the region. In 1982, a memorandum of understanding was signed among Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines to prepare constituency plans and assist one another on requests in national emergencies and threats to national security. This initiative needs to be reinforced, Prime Minister Strode says.
When we embarked on this journey in 1973, I realized because the people of the Caribbean need to feel in their everyday goings out and comings in the effect of being not just citizens of one country, but citizens of a regional civilization, and that is really what we're aiming at.
Prime Minister Strode re-emphasizes the need for a recommitment by CARICOM countries to address peace and security from its multi-dimensional perspective.
The regional project is too important to be left to chance, and therefore a recommitment by heads and a working out of the necessary formulae to ensure that decisions taken are implemented. This is an old problem going back to the very foundations of CARICOM, and we're still working at it.
The Barbadian Prime Minister adds that CARICOM countries must also work towards the establishment or strengthening of the institutions in the Inter-American system to not only build confidence, but ensure peace and security in the hemisphere. Gabriela Patram for the Government News Brief.
The National Integrated Solid Waste Management Strategy 2017 to 2030 was subjected to a final round of consultation with the general public. Tiffany Rodias has more.
The event held at the Regency Hotel today was aimed at ensuring that the contributions and recommendations of key stakeholders in the capital city were received and taken into account in the production of the final document. Head of the Sanitation Management Unit at the Ministry of Communities, Gordon Gilks, explains that preparations have been underway for almost 2 years for the strategy, and it is now reaching its final stages.
In 2014, the then Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development saw the need to develop a strategy for the implementation of an integrated solid waste management in Guyana. The Ministry, through the Georgetown Solid Waste Management Program, with assistance of the IDB, developed the draft Integrated Solid Waste Management Strategy. However, in order for the strategy to be finalized, nationwide consultations were necessary so as to have the participation and comments from a wide cross-section of citizens, so that the comments and issues raised by the public could be included in the final strategy.
To assist the Ministry of Communities in rolling out the consultations, a consultant, Samuel Wright, was appointed. The public consultations were launched on August 26, 2016, and to date, 26 consultations were completed in all 10 regions. Gilks explains that while consultations on the strategy were being done, the Ministry of Communities is moving forward with several projects aimed at arresting the solid waste situation.
And the activities are related to three broad areas: infrastructure development, institutional strengthening and capacity building, and public awareness and community participation, and comprise the following: upgrading of the Higgsburg sanitary landfill site, identification of suitable sites within each region for the construction of sanitary landfill, upgrading of dump sites and improving the operation of these sites in the regions.
The National Integrated Solid Waste Management Strategy 2017 to 2030 aims at providing the roadmap by which a country can reduce and better manage its waste. The strategy sets out 6 key goals and 44 strategic actions, which identify the government's expectations of waste management at the end of the strategic period and into the future. For the Government News Brief, Tiffany Rogers.
The Guyana Fire Service will be expanding its reach and capacity to better serve citizens. Details from Neola Damon.
The Emergency Medical Service, EMS, which was launched last November, has since been a success. Chief Fire Officer Marlon Gentle says that since its launch, the EMS has received over 600 calls for medical assistance. Gentle says that before the end of 2017, Phase 1 of the EMS will be completed and Phase 2 will commence.
Right now we are in the process of recruiting another batch of 35 or 36 emergency medical technicians to staff another 4 ambulances, 2 which we have recently acquired, and 2 more that will be purchased this year. That is supposed to bring up the requirement for Region 4. So at the end of this year, we are confident that we'll be able to cover Phase 1, and we will be looking to start the Phase 2 of these operations, which will be the Region 3 and Region 5 areas.
The GFS is also looking to modernize fire stations to be equipped to handle both firefighting and medical services.
There are also plans to expand the firefighting aspect of the Guyana Fire Service. We intend to conclude the fire station at Melanie this year, as well as Lethem, and to commence construction of fire stations in Madja, Marbaruma, and also to look at rehabilitating some of the older fire stations in Georgetown and its environs, to prepare them to launch both the fire and emergency medical services from these locations.
This year as well, the GFS intends to have a presence in the Essequibo Islands of Wakenham and Laguan, and will be conducting more outreaches in hinterland areas. Neola Damon for Government News Brief.
Several city high school children were enlightened on the history of Mashramani by one of the festival's founding members. Zanil Williams reports.
Students of St. Stanislaus College, the Bishop's High School, Queen's College, and Richard Ishmael Secondary School were given a history of Mashramani by Jimmy Hamilton as they viewed the exhibition under the guidance of Mistress Sita Nagamutu, wife of Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu. Hamilton recaps that Mashramani began in the town of Linden in Region 10 following independence in 1966.
So we have Independence Carnival in 68, and we did everything, copy it from Trinidad. We had a carnival crane, we had a calypso contest, old mass, Juve, you name it, steel band. And this went on in 69. In 1970, when we were now going to become a republic, and one of the president of the day, in the public statement said that, comrades, we are now going to be a republic. And I don't want to hear that you're crowning queens and kings. We in got royal dinavo. So that shook us. Well, what are we going to do? We can't have a carnival queen. What's going to happen? And that was the trigger that started Mashramani.
Alan Fitkow, who worked in the geological department of the Bauxite Company, was called in on the research project to transform the carnival to a Guyanese celebration. Hamilton notes that Fitkow told stories about various Amerindian cultural celebrations, one of which was Mashramani. It was a celebration which usually goes for days during a wedding or after the end of hard labor. Queen's College student Joshana Hopkinson shares her thoughts on the exhibition.
This is my first time at the Prime Minister's residence. I was not aware until my visit here that it was a heritage site, but Ms. Nagamutu, she was very welcoming to us, and the displays were very interesting. The exhibition was very educational, so I really enjoyed my time here.
After Guyana gained Republican status in February 1970, Mashramani was taken to Georgetown for the first time in 1972 and then to other parts of the country in keeping with nationalistic principles. Zanil Williams reporting for the Government News Brief.
Guyanese will celebrate Mashramani on February 23rd. Gina sought to find out what students think of when they hear the word Mashramani. Here is more.
Guyana attained Republican status on February 23, 1970, 47 years ago. This status came a few years after the country became an independent nation on May 26, 1966. After gaining Republican status, a Republic Committee was formed to organize the activities for the Carnival celebration. A search for name was launched to replace Carnival, and Basil Boucher suggested that an Amerindian name be chosen. The word Mashramani is derived from the Arawak indigenous language and in translation means the celebration after hard work. It refers to a special event which brings people together after some enterprise. Today, Mashramani is celebrated by all, but what does this mean to our young people?
A time where we come together, after hard work, and we celebrate, and we take that time out from all of our busy schedules. We set aside everything and we just come together as one and celebrate and go down the streets and, showcase our vibrant colors that we have.
Mashramani really means celebration after hard work, which is all definition that each institution gives to us. But to me, it's like freedom, like the abolishment of slavery. It's actually the freedom of doing anything you want, but not really anything, but anything.
Mashramani means to me celebration after hard work. To me, it really signifies a celebration with everyone, each and everyone, having a grand time with everyone, encouraging each other to not only work hard, but to have fun.
First of all, Mash to me is like coming together as one family, where everybody comes out, have fun, celebrate together, know each other, showcase your different talents, everything.
The 6 ethnic groups of one nation come together and celebrating after hard work. Because Mashramani comes from the Amerindians. It's a word from the Amerindians. So I'm an Amerindian too, right? So yeah, and it showcases like all the different types of stuff, the culture of each ethnic group.
Republic Anniversary is celebrated in all 10 regions of Guyana with flag-raising ceremonies and other events. The biggest celebration usually takes place in and around Georgetown, where spectacular costumes, float parades, masquerade bands, and participants take to the streets, accompanied by steel band music and calypsos. Mashramani is being celebrated this year under the theme Celebration with Dignity, Liberty, and Greater Unity. For the Government News Brief, Delicia Haynes.
We have come to the end of today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on Gina's website. Gina has an active Facebook page, and we encourage you to visit and like us so you can be updated as the news unfolds. You can also visit our website and YouTube channel. Remember to join on Monday for another edition of the Government News Brief. I am Renetta LaFleur. Thank you for watching.